Joining us from Washington, David Azerrad, presidential historian who works at the Heritage Foundation. From Nashville, Tennessee, John Meacham, also a presidential historian whose latest book is Destiny and Power, about President Bush the Elder. All right, John, I know you're overcome with my brilliance.
I am.
But did I make any mistakes in the memo?
I'm always overcome by that. It was longer than the Sermon on the Mount and perhaps as memorable. I don't think you made mistakes. I think there are some omissions that I would offer up as a context if I were writing the historical legacy of Obama. I think on the economic front, you do have to give credit for the rise in the Dow. Only two other presidents since 1900 have presided over a rise in the stock market of this scope. That's Coolidge and Bill Clinton. The tax rates, you talk about how he was interested in redistribution of income. The tax rates are still lower than they were when Ronald Reagan signed the Kemp-Roth bill at his ranch in August of 1981, lowering the rate from 70 under Carter to 50. It finally got to 28
but not
after
the overall.
86.
So when you and it's a little sleight of hand, Meacham. I'm a little surprised at you down there in Nashville because you don't take into the Social Security tax, okay, which is really whacked working Americans because all the restraints are off that, and it's much higher. And then you add to the state situation burden. You have a tax system and the highest rate of corporate tax in the world, John.
Right, and you have a 3.8% Obamacare tax on investment income.
So come on, it's a strangle situation. If you're looking for vibrant growth, you can't get it under that system.
I agree with that. I mean, look, the economy grew twice as fast under George H.W. Bush, and he got thrown out of office after 1 year.
Let's go to Mr. Azerrad. What do you say?
I generally agree with you, Bill. The problem isn't Obama, it's his policies. Obama, by all accounts, is a good man, and I think we can all take pride in the fact that he was our first African-American president. The problem is when you turn to the policies he pursued aggressively, from Obamacare to the Iran deal to Common Core to climate change, they're unpopular and they're unsuccessful. I find it telling that when Obama's on the ballot, he wins. When he isn't, when it's his policies, when it's his legacy, the American voters overwhelmingly reject them, and the Democratic Party gets shellacked, as the president himself says.
So what is it about Barack Obama? Does he mesmerize people? Because, as I said, his approval rating's better than 50%. Yet, 2/3 of the American people think the country's heading in the wrong direction. It doesn't really stack.
Hey, look, he's young, he's charismatic, he's our first black president. I think people want him to succeed, and he carries himself more often than not with a certain dignity, so I don't think it's anything personal. The left wants us to believe that the American people are racist and don't like the president for who he is. I think the whole country wanted him to succeed. He just pushed an agenda that was much more progressive than the country was ready for, and displayed kind of a tin ear to the problems facing the country. We didn't need healthcare reform.
He wasn't nimble, and he didn't change in the court. You think he was too stubborn, John? He didn't want to really work with the Republicans, and all right, I understand. A lot of them were trying to sabotage him, just as a lot of Democrats are trying to sabotage Trump today. But do you think, in ISIS, that really bothers me, because everybody told him, hey, got a big problem here. Leon Panetta told him, his own guys told him. And he kept going, I don't really care. I think that is going to go down in history as he either was in denial on an issue that has killed tens of thousands of people, or he just was incompetent. Which is it?
Well, when you write history, character is destiny. You know this. And part of the president's character is he has occasionally given off the sense that if only the American people were commensurate with his brilliance, things would be better. And I think that has been a problem with his leadership. I think that one thing we have to give him credit for, and the other thing about that is he also overcorrected, as presidents tend to do, from his predecessor. Anything that smacked of George W. Bush, Obama was going to go the other way.
Particularly Cheney. But ISIS is such a glaring error. And I don't understand, Mr. Azerrad, why a president would, avoid a confrontation with this group, seeing the massive chaos that it caused. With all these people in the Middle East and Africa now going into Europe, I mean, that's going to be a problem for decades to come. That's right on Obama's watch.
His heart was never into foreign policy. I mean, he promised to fundamentally transform the United States of America, or as he put it in his first inaugural, to remake the country. He was never interested in foreign policy. He viewed it as a distraction, and I think this accounts for part of it, that his heart was never into it.
Yeah, but still, the jihad is the president's main focus to protect us. Do you think, John, that Barack Obama, at this point, understands the criticisms that I just laid out, or does he just is he one of these people who just blocks all that out and says, "Yeah, I did a great job. I don't want to hear anything else"?
Oh, he would answer each one. I mean, you've interviewed him a lot. One of his favorite formulations is this notion that, and then he undercuts it with his view.
But the facts are the facts. Now we have 8 years of facts.
But he's going to.
Go ahead.
He's going to spend a long time. This is a man who could live another 50 years arguing. Let me say one other thing about terrorism. I do think he has to give credit, and I want to hear what you think about this. There's not been a spectacular attack on the homeland in his 8 years. He launched 10 times, 100 times as many drone strikes as George W. Bush. He killed 3,000 terrorists. And I think has in many ways alienated many people on the left with his anti-terror campaigns. ISIS is incredibly important. Syria and the riot and pulling out of Iraq are open accounts. But the drone strikes are important.
I think that when it was convenient for him to attack, he attacked. When there was no downside, he did it. But when it was complicated, he didn't. I'm going to give Mr. Azerrad the last word. Give President Obama, I want a grade from you, Meacham, too. Mr. Azerrad, A to F, give me a grade.
According to what you want to grade him, I would say, what did he promise to do? President Obama promised hope and change. He gave us angst and insecurity. He promised to unify us, and all he did was divide us by race, by religion, by class, by playing identity politics. I think he's earned an F, but in this age of great inflation, he'll probably get a D.
And you, John?
Well, I think it's a B, and I think that the prosperous have gotten more prosperous. That's one of the reasons Trump won, is because the prosperity did not come down to where it needed to come. And also, in history, again, as you know, Bill, you're not judged only by what your predecessors did, but by how your successors do. And so this is going to be an open question. We're going to be talking about this for a long time. So you give him a B, and Mr. Azerrad's giving him a D.
Good discussion, guys. We really appreciate it. Directly ahead, Senator Sessions telling Americans why he should be the next Attorney General.